Understanding your cash flow is the single most important part of your entire plan for retirement. And it's the number one thing that our clients tell us is that one thing that gave them the most confidence and clarity about their plans for retirement. So understanding your cash flow is key for a few different reasons. Number one, it's the thing that's going to tell us if your retirement is actually on track. And it also is the key to being able to go back to that plan and make adjustments if your plan is either not on the right track, or maybe if you want to plan for something like an early retirement or a higher amount of spending in retirement. Number two is this cash flow report is going to be the thing that's going to tell you what your retirement gaps are. Those retirement gaps are going to be what we need to start planning for your retirement withdrawals. And then finally, number three is it's also the key and the centerpiece for optimizing your plan. So once you start working on things like Roth conversions and Social Security timing strategies, it's all going to come back to that cash flow report. So up here on the screen, I have our eMoney advanced planning software, and we have our Tim and Jill Mitchell hypothetical case study here. And we can see just from the report here, visually, we can see a couple of things that are going on. On the left here, we can see what's going on is a visual representation of that money coming in and the money going out. So Tim and Jill are still working for a few more years, so they have higher income coming in than their expenses are. But in that early part of retirement, we see some much bigger gaps in that early part. And that's going to be something that's going to be critical to make sure that we're planning for, and we have a good set of rules and guidelines for taking those retirement withdrawals. And then as Social Security kicks in, and eventually down the road, their required minimum distributions, those lines get much closer together. Over here on the right, we can see what's happening to our portfolio assets over time. So we can see a couple more years of working is going to build up those retirement assets. And then in the early part of retirement, those assets are going to drift down a little bit because, again, those bigger gaps are going to mean bigger withdrawals from the portfolio. But we can see that this plan has a good longevity. They're not running out of money in their plan. We can also see here too, and one of the things that a lot of people struggle with as they start to build spreadsheets or work with other financial planning tools that may be out there, is dealing with the variability of the cash inflows and cash outflows. So we can see basically what's going on here. All the things on the left side of this table here are going to be monies that are coming in, and then over on the right we have monies that are going out. And we can see for the Mitchells, maybe somewhat similar to what you're doing, is they have a couple more years of working, and then we can see in the early part of retirement they literally have no money coming in. That's very common actually for a lot of our plans. We can also see when their pension is going to kick in. Jill has a little bit of a pension from her business, and they also have their Social Security benefits are going to come in. This is another area that sometimes can trip people up because Tim and Jill are actually 2 years apart. So Tim is going to get his Social Security benefits 2 years before Jill, and that's going to be represented here as well. So we can plan for some of that variability like we're talking about. Now when we go into the expenses, this is where things get really interesting because like the Mitchells, you may have a lot of different things going on in terms of those expenses here. Most people are going to have some core living expenses like we see here. They have a mortgage, but that mortgage is scheduled to be paid off right around the time that they're retiring. So we're going to show that, and that's going to be an improvement to their cash flow. They have some real estate expenses from their homes, and they also have some other expenses, and we can really plan almost anything that we want to out here. They're going to have some current healthcare insurance through their Blue Cross plans while they're still working here. We're also going to be planning for some pre-Medicare expenses as well as Medicare, and all of those are going to be at a little bit different price point there. They're still helping to support one of their young adult children, David, so we have a few more years of expenses there. And then like a lot of people, we want to start planning out some of those fun things that you want to do in retirement like travel. So we have some early travel expenses that we're going to plan out in here, and then also what is that travel budget going to be maybe in those early years of retirement. And we can really get very imaginative here. We can plan out almost anything that you want and really get a good representation of what you want your retirement to look like. And again, as we're making some of these adjustments, we can always continuously come back to this main cash flow and see, is this still leaving us in a good long-term position to stay on track for our retirement? So if you want to learn more about how you can build a plan like this using our Retirement Time Machine program, you can head over to retirementtimemachine.com. And once again, I'm Bill Leatherman for moneyevolution.com, and I'll see you back in one of our next videos.